I love our music. Welcome to Hello Chaos. It's a weekly podcast exploring the messy and chaotic minds and lives of founders, entrepreneurs, and innovators. Every week, we talk to entrepreneurs from different industries at different company stages of all shapes and sizes. We hear the real, the raw, the unbiased stories and really talk about the good, the great, and the ugly, all the parts about being a founder. And it's why our mantra is where aha meets oh shit. We drop new episodes every Sunday. Founders listen to us on a Sunday afternoon to get ready for the week, or sometimes they do it on their drive-in on Monday morning. Hello Cast is one of the many resources brought to you by Orange WIP. That's Orange WIP, WIP for Work in Progress. Orange WIP is a multimedia company dedicated to serving founders and entrepreneurs in affiliate cities through hyperlocal media platforms that have been designed to inform, inspire, and create connections to help founders succeed. Orange WIP is an all-in-one content hub with fresh and engaging stories. We curate calendars, the local calendars. We have a local dynamic roadmap that helps founders navigate their local entrepreneurial ecosystem. We've done all the hard work for founders, so they all need to go to one trusted place to find all the local information they need. My name is Jennifer Sutton. My friends and family call me JJ. I'm the founder of Orange WIP and will be your host today. And I'm so excited. We have Will Stewart, founder of 98 Central and Pronk Studios. Welcome, Will. Welcome to the chaos.
Thanks, Jennifer. Thanks for having me on.
You
I'm
are so
excited to chat with
welcome.
you.
I know. I was even thinking, I was like, oh my gosh. So we just celebrated Bright. So Orange
Right.
WIP is our sister company, right, to Bright Marketing, which
Yeah.
we just kind of had our 10-year
Congratulations.
anniversary back in December. So I call like this 2024 is truly our 10th. We're in our 10th year.
Right.
But I remember sitting with you, and I can't remember if I had already started or Bright, and was just, or was I freelancing still? But a friend of our mutual friend said, you guys really need to connect. And you were on your own. You were trying to figure out, I don't even think you even had maybe 98 Central as a name yet. I'm trying to remember. But we sat at a coffee shop, and you were like, I love doing videos. And it was just you. And now you've exploded. 98 Central, completely has taken off as a, video and cinematography, studio. And then you guys have built this unbelievable studio, state of the art, called Pronk Studios in Greenville. But it serves the South, actually the U.S., because there's only 6 studios like it in the country. Yeah. And we're pretty lucky to have it in South Carolina. But yeah, I'm just like 10 years, growth, explosion.
Isn't that crazy? And it was all just uphill, all the way up and to the right. No trouble, no issues at all. Definitely nothing messy or chaotic. It was all easy.
Really.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
But I love chatting with old friends because it's so much fun to get together because you remember me when and it's great and it's fun just seeing your success and Greenville's a small place anyway,
Right.
so we know all the same people and it's fun just watching your friends and all the good people succeed and do amazing things.
Especially at this community, Greenville, it's such a small, compared to like Atlanta or Charlotte, but our creative community, to me, is much richer. When I go up and network in Charlotte or even like network in, other parts in the, Raleigh area, just nothing compares to the creative community that we have here.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It is. It's fascinating. So I'm going to ask you, so start out, just tell us I met you 10 years ago. You were on your own, but, tell us about your entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah.
Just
so
start us out.
Yeah, so it started when I was a kid in Louisiana. So I was in the Bayou in Clinton, Louisiana, and started a business doing web design and development. So the internet had just made its way to Clinton, and it was just north of Baton Rouge. And it's about the size of what you would imagine it would be. It's just the middle of nowhere. But had that little 14.4 dial-up modem, and it would just uh, slowly load pages and figure things out. And I literally bought a book at Sam's Club, 600 words, or I'm sorry, 600 pages that was on HTML5. And I read that twice and figured it out, and then just started coding and just it was fun to me. It's interesting to figure that
Yeah.
out, and just ended up growing a business from that. And it wasn't a huge thriving business at all. It did enough to make it successful, but it was fun just kind of learning through that process and kind of figuring things out on my own and figure out what it meant to grow a company and all that. I realized soon that I was terrible at coding. I was not great at that at
You're
all.
like, this is not working.
But I love the design. I love the branding side of things. So
Yeah.
just had a lot of mentors that came into my life. I hired people that were developers and that were brought them in as contractors, and just started growing the company from there. But was able to sell it to a company that was looking to build get bigger and acquire us, and then bring me on as the creative director for their agency. So
Okay.
that was a lot of fun. Then that really just the agency life, what it's like.
Oh,
It'll
yeah.
break you.
It's either you love it or you hate it. It's
Yes.
there is no in between.
Yeah. Oh, it's so true. Yeah. There's never like a day where you're just kind of in lukewarm water, just being like, this is nice. You're either just, pulling your hair out or elated. But yes, that's in that agency was when video started becoming a little bit more
That's what I was
democratized.
like, how did you shift to video? Yeah.
Yeah, so back in high school days, my dad had a film camera, which I still have to this day. It's one of my treasured possessions, and that film camera is what taught me about lenses and emulsion and all the science behind cameras and how that all works. So I did a lot of photography, and that's kind of with doing websites. You need photography
Right.
anyway, so it would
You
kind of
need
make
the
sense.
images.
Yeah, so I just did that a lot and was enjoying that. And then whenever video became more democratized and when I was in the agency, I went to the owner one day and I was like, hey, I think we could, possibly start offering video as a service. And
he was like,
said
no.
yes.
Oh, no, get out.
So yeah, the bug bit when that happened. So I started learning about video, building the team, and then eventually I went to him and said, hey, I need to do this full time. I love it too much and want to be a part of it.
So let me ask you. So in that moment of, okay, you start something, then you get bought. So then you become basically an employee, going from
Yes.
kind of owning. How was that show? Was that a lesson learned of like, I am not a good employee?
Oh.
Or were you like, I kind of like this, but then it was like the video thing took off and you're like, I think I need to take a leap. But yeah, what was that transition like? Because, I was an employee for 25 years before I said, you know what, I think I might want to start
Right.
my own company.
Yeah.
What was
Yeah.
your experience like?
So that was the first time that I'd been a long time employee of anything, because I just grew the company in high
Yeah.
school and just did that. I was like, I'm making more money doing that than anything else. I might as well just keep going. So it was weird. It was super weird. It felt great because I had a salary that was coming in, and the salary was set, and I didn't have to worry about bringing in work and kind of all of
Right.
the sales stuff that I was doing was all kind of taken care of by somebody else, and so that part of it was nice.
Insurance and all like that
Right.
crap.
Yes, exactly. So I can just go to my office,
Be
everything's
creative.
ready, here I go.
Yeah.
But the downside is, I'm just very much, a dreamer, and anytime you and I get together,
I know, we
always
dream
just-
big. We dream big. We're going to
We
take
make
over the
huge
world.
plans. Very rarely do we do anything about them, but we
I know.
talk a really big game for 3 hours.
We're going to do it. It's going to happen. That's right.
That's so good. But yeah, when I'm dreaming big and all that, it kind of cramped my style when you go to somebody that's like, no, I don't think we should do that. We should
Right.
focus on this thing. So that was the downside. There's an upside was, I really learned a lot about branding, marketing, what kind of a real agency was like, because a lot of the stuff that, we were doing with my company was, all homegrown. You figured out on your own and
Right.
and just kind of build it from there. So I would never have changed it for a million years. It was an honor, and I loved it every second of it. But once I got back on my own, I just kind of have that carny heart. I just like to go
Yeah.
out there and be wild and free. So
So what's been the most rewarding part of your whole journey?
freedom, really, honestly, being a founder means you get to have some freedom. So you're in control of your destiny. Your hand, like any twitch of your hand on that steering wheel,
That's
you're
right.
going either way, for good or for bad. But then you also have freedom of choice. Do the things that really feed your soul. It doesn't matter if you're creative or if you're someone that's doing more of an analytical type job. I mean, there's all these different tasks that just make us happy and bring us joy. And with the advent of the internet and everything else that's going on, like, you just have so many options now to do so many different things. So the freedom to do what I want to do and when I want to do it has been an incredible thing. And as I built the company, it was basically a freelancer for a lot of different agencies. I enjoyed that, just going from gig to gig, and
Yeah.
you work a little harder if you need a little more extra money, and just kind of doing
That's
that kind of
right.
thing.
And then it was like, then you started to bring on your own employees. What was that? You started to scale pretty significantly.
Yeah.
How was that? How's that been?
Yeah. So Jennifer, I was burned out after doing the freelance world, just because I was managing everything. I had so many editors that were contractors.
Right.
Everything was through contractors. So
Right.
at one point, I think I worked with like 80 different contractors in one year, which is just an
Oh
incredible amount.
my, yeah.
I had no one checking my email. I had no one doing my calendar. I had nobody, and so like if anybody's fans of Story Brand, my tenacity is very, very low. So I'm very much let's get to 70% and then pass it on kind
Yeah.
of person. So like there's so much that I had to be involved with that was not in my gifting and wasn't in my joy. So I was burned out and exhausted for a couple years. I just really wanted to hire, but I was afraid. I was
Yeah.
worried about because it's different. Whenever I never hired,
Right. It's a risk.
and
Like you go, oh my God, I'm taking a risk, but also
yes,
somebody else is taking a risk on me. You know what I mean?
right,
It's
yeah.
it's such a different. You're right. It's a shift in mindset.
It really
Um,
is. And you can't have that carny soul anymore, as much,
yeah,
like
yeah.
suddenly got to start being a little bit more deliberative and, serious. And it's like, it's business now, and so,
Right.
and it also meant that, I had to slow down a little bit because I
Uh,
was, going across the country and filming, West Coast and,
yeah, you were all
I
over.
was doing John Deere spots and Volkswagen spots, all kind of stuff. And so now it's like, okay, we need to slow down and change some models. And so it's been from, I don't know, from when I started hiring my first employee, which I'll tell you the date in 1 second. It's very
Yeah.
important what
I'm
this date
curious.
was.
Yeah.
And to now, which has been about 4 years. I'm just now getting to the point where I feel like I'm starting to get comfortable again. Of like, okay, I think because the amount of trajectory and the growth that
Yeah.
happened from it all, and me just now had to figure out, okay, not just being a founder and being an expert
Like,
in my craft, but also now how do I be a boss?
plus, I was like, how do you lead? Like, what
Right?
is your leadership style?
Yes.
And you still have to be the visionary. I mean, you still need to
Yep.
give yourself permission to be that, the one that is setting the tone.
Yes. Yeah. Which
Uh,
is really honestly the most important thing.
yeah.
But, and we can get to this later, but
Yeah.
like it's that whole thing of like doing the work and then managing the people to do the work. And then, oh, that work wasn't good enough. And how do I train you to do the work? And am I
Right.
bad at teaching you to do the work, or are you just not good at learning? And it's just
Right.
like, like all these things. So it's been an amazing experience just to figure out, I just read so many books to figure it out, but I hired my first employee March 2020. So it was just
Oh
right
my
before the
gosh,
pandemic,
right before
yeah.
everything blew up.
Yeah, after 2 years of just like, worried and like, I don't know if I can do this. And I think there's demand and we'll see. And then,
Yeah.
hired the first employee and
So
pandemic
what
hit.
was that? Was that somebody that was taking over your employee, like an editor or a cinematographer, or was it somebody in operations to
So
take
editor,
the? So editor, okay.
yeah. It was just doing the work. So that was
Yeah.
one of the big things that we had. I had 6 different editors, five or 6 different editors that I was using contract basis, and just being able to communicate with all of those people. It's just it
Yeah.
was complex.
So to
And
consolidate
yeah,
and go, okay, you know what? I got 2,000 hours I can put on this person versus
right.
breaking it up into, you get 100 hours, you get 100 hours, you get
Right.
500 hours, you get 800 hours
Yeah,
over the course of
exactly.
the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that's a struggle for a lot of founders of like, when do you know when to hire and what type of person do you need to hire? So yeah,
Right.
that was,
Yeah.
yeah.
We typically just we look at dollar amount. So we say,
Mm,
okay, we've been paying this much for a contractor to do, this much work. If we got a full time person, for that, can we find a full time person for a similar amount, or if not, is it like a little bit more, and then now
right.
we have a full time person that can help us, and then what other work can they peel off from somebody else? So yeah, there's a whole thing that we do, and when we think
Yeah.
about that.
It's a formula.
Yeah. And then his gut.
And then there's gut. That's right. So what do you think is the bit, we hear all these things of, oh, I want to be a founder, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to start my own company. What do you think are the biggest, what's the biggest misconception or misperception people have about being an entrepreneur and a founder? And how do you debunk that?
I think one of the biggest misconceptions is it's like what the hustle bros say it is on social media. It's just like, yeah, I'm going to teach you how to, make $3 million in your sleep,
Yeah.
and usually that's someone in their early 20s, and I don't know why, they think they don't have the credibility. Um, I,
It's like,
it's
you've been in this industry for a minute. Like you,
if you're even in it at all, like
if
I
you're,
doubt many of
that's
them
right.
are. I'm just like I call cap, as the kids say.
Yes.
Yes. So, but yeah, so that's one of the things I think people think that when you're a founder, now it's immediately yachts and Bugattis and whatnot. But like there's very few. There's a great book I read one time, and it's probably dated by now, but it's called The Millionaire Next Door.
Oh, I don't think
And
that's dated. I think that's
no,
a
it's
great book. Yeah.
okay.
It's got
Yeah.
some great lessons in there that are, to me, that are timeless. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and there's just certain things like like at the time when I read it many years ago, but it was the average millionaire has a watch that's $70 or less, and it's like
Right.
people who are able to earn money and save money, they're not extravagant. It's not like what you see in like some kind of TV show or something like that,
Right.
or on social media. That's more the exception. So I think that's the one thing. It's people think that they can just jump in, start a company just because out of I think negative emotions sometimes. It's well, I don't want anybody telling me what to do. I don't I really I just want to do my own thing, and it's instead of a positive, like I want to change the world, I want to make the world a better place or something like
Right.
that. So
Or I want to make my mark
right.
in this industry, this category, or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. Because we as we've had employees and contractors, people that are looking for, they're I call them, they're just gig players, just kind of like
Yeah.
how we started out.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I want to start my own company. It's like, do you?
Yeah.
It's it's
It's
not
so true.
easy. And they're like, well, because I want to live softly, and if I go work for somebody, there's too much pressure. And I was like, there's more pressure.
It really is.
I think that whether you decide to hire employees or to manage multiple contractors to scale, versus just kind of going gig to gig to gig by yourself. I think there's that, it's harder work because you got to do the accounting part. You got to do the account service part. You got to go
Yep.
and do the new business. You got to go hunt for the
Yes.
next gig. Like it doesn't just magically fall into your lap.
Yeah.
of,
It's so true. Yeah,
um,
and that's the thing. Like when you start a company, I would love to know if this was your experience, but you start not doing the thing that you started the company to do.
right,
Like if your skill set, like in mine, like I love being on set, I love big sets, I love lights and cameras, and like
right,
the energy of it, and it feeds my ADHD brain. But there's so much reports that I'm doing now and sales, and
yeah.
I've learned Salesforce, and I mean that's
And
literally, I
looking
mean
at
that's
systems and yeah,
let's
you
talk
know,
about processes.
let's talk. Yeah. Oh, I think we all went there. I mean, I went through, and I'm still kind of in that mode of, you start that as like I'm wearing 6 different functional hats.
Yeah,
I've delegated the 5 or 6 other, functional hats.
Yeah.
But, there's things that I'm still wearing like 2 or 3 of the functions
Mhm.
versus, but there's things that, it's hard to not do. Like we
Yeah.
were talking about research, like I'm a research designer. I'm a data nerd. Um, I would love to teach, and I'm trying to bring people on board that have the interest and passion to learn. Like how do you find insights in order to turn that into incorporate that into your brand strategy and your storytelling and how that all manifests
Yeah.
later. But it is how to design the research is a unique specialty,
Yeah.
and I haven't found a good person to delegate that to. So I still
Yeah.
wear that function.
Yeah.
I still wear that hat. But and there's things that you're right, man. I wish I could delegate other operational stuff of
Yeah.
helping to create systems and what
Yeah.
tools, what's our tech stack, and you know
Yep.
all
And there's
of
so much that I don't think
that.
we can ever get away from it. That's the thing.
Mm-mm.
Like it was weird as the company started growing because it doubled multiple times
I
very
say, yeah.
quickly. Right now we're about to hire our 12th employee, and that's a lot of growth. And
Right.
I
Well,
didn't
and also
realize
you
how
you you
painful.
you created I mean, you guys outfitted a studio. I mean, like a
Yes.
state of the art studio.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
took some risk and some
A
guts
lot of risk.
and
Yeah.
financial
Yeah.
investment.
Exactly.
When I think of risk, it's not just, yeah, there's financial in it, but that's a huge, is this going to pay off? Is this gamble? Especially in, where, let's say when you launched it, it was like, what, a year later, the strike happened
Right. Yeah.
in
No,
the
the strike was
industry.
happening while we were launching. The strike is
Yeah.
basically happening. Yeah. I learned so much about risk and making those big moves, and it's been fascinating. It's really informed me for the next time.
What did you think was that an oh shit moment, or was that like an aha moment?
It was. Can it be both at the same time? But
Yes, it can be.
there was a
Yeah.
lot of oh shit moments for sure. So I'll start with those.
Yeah.
We. So for those who don't know, we have a 10,000 square foot
Yes.
studio that's state of the art. It's
I
incredible, and
mean,
it has a 3,000 square foot soundstage in it that's treated with sound, and you can walk in it. It sounds like a really small room, doesn't echo at all. But the cool thing about it is it has this Hollywood level LED wall that's as big as a house. So it's
yeah.
40 feet wide and 15 feet tall. And the cool thing about it is you can stand in front of it, and people can film or do put photographs in front of it, and it looks like you're there. Wherever you
Right.
want to be, you can be there. You're any place, anywhere,
Looks
anytime.
like you could walk down the street of LA. I mean,
Yeah,
that you can make it
exactly.
look like you're just, meet and greeting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we've had so many people use it, from SNL cast members down to local companies that are trying to sell products and stuff. So it's been fun, but it's the same technology that they use for any kind of modern
Like in the
movie these days.
Marvel
Yep.
Studios has something similar in Atlanta,
Yep,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So there's not many of them around. There's ones of different sizes. Marvel has like a massive one that's
Right.
360 degrees around, and it's cool. But we're grateful to have what we have, and yeah. So as we were building, I mean, it wasn't a small investment. It was over 7 figures, and
Yeah.
getting into this. It took time, to outfit the space, and we were renovating this building, and it was a building that I had known about for about 7 years before we moved in, and really wanted to be in it, and just everything worked out, and a lot of prayers were answered, and was grateful to have the opportunity to get in here, and so then we're starting the whole process of building this thing, and permitting was taking a long time, and then as permitting's taking a long time, we start seeing the market just kind of do some funky stuff, with like the fallout from 2020, and
Right. Well, and
like,
AI, people are like, I don't need to have a editor and a cinematographer. We'll just do AI.
good luck.
Yeah. That's why I was like, you still need human creativity. You still
Oh my
need
goodness,
equipment.
yes.
But
Yeah.
we fight that with clients and
Do
brands
you
yeah.
really?
Oh, people,
Wow.
yeah. And I'm like, no, you need to value it. Like, come on.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
If you're a brand, like if you own a brand, if you're an advertiser, brand manager, if you think you can get AI in the same quality, no, no,
Wow.
you're
You're
cheaping.
you're
You're
yeah.
cheapening.
your AI is only as good as your prompts.
That's right.
And even then, like I mean,
Even then,
there are some limitations.
They're still, yeah.
And believe me, I'm a guy that I have ChatGPT on my phone. I use it all the time.
We do
I'm
too,
having
but
long
it's
conversations with it, so I am not an anti-AI guy at all.
right.
But there's very much a limitations. And how we talk about it in our team, if this is helpful, is we say, okay, if you split up the work of serving a client in 100%, you get 100%. 10% of that time might be ideation, thinking about,
Right.
what are we going to do? What's our creativity? 80% might be doing the work, and then 10% might be refining it
Right.
and
Right.
working on it. If we can use AI to take that 80% and bring it down to 50%, and then we can do more ideation and more,
more refining.
refinement, then that's where we want to be.
Oh,
But we
well,
don't want to work
we had that
less.
exact same conversation
Did you?
with our team like a year ago. It was like,
Nice.
let's use it for also operations, like the
Yeah.
stuff that like, and that way we can be either more affordable or we can just take on more projects. We can be more
Sure.
scalable. But yeah, it's like you still need the human creativity on that anchors both of those.
Yeah,
There is no
100%.
we tested, I don't know, well over 200 different tools in the creative space. And we were like, nothing replaces those two, the refinement and then also the ideation, and even like in between, like who's playing the oversight, who's like continually, to us, it's like there's still this engine that still needs to play that, that creative direction oversight. But yeah.
100%. Yeah. And you have to get those prompts right. You have to know how to, massage it toward the way it needs to go. And then even then it's like,
and that's an
I don't
art
know.
all to itself, know. Okay, so keep going with the ahas to oh shits. The oh shits to ahas. Okay.
Yeah, the big oh shit was like, oh my goodness, the market's changing, and when we signed the papers, it's a different market than when we actually moved in. And then another oh shit was when I discovered that, I'm a very optimistic person, and I'm very much let's get things done. This is going to be great.
Yeah.
Come on, guys, we can do this. So great team. I love my team. They're incredible hard workers. But, just a move of a company move, and at that time I think we were 8 people or so. That's a lot of work, and that's a lot of disruption for.
Well, and
your
you guys
company.
you guys still had a studio. I mean, it wasn't just like office people.
Right.
It was literally you had equipment, lights.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So we had to upfit all that. Figure that out. With a new building is new processes. How do we have clients flowing through the company and in a way that's graceful. We say that we want this place to be like spa day for businesses. We want it to be comfortable and enjoyable, and that doesn't happen by accident. And we want to make sure we have unreasonable hospitality, like that book that I'm reading currently, and it's
That's a great book for anybody that has not read it. It is if you're in the service business, not just like, doesn't matter if you're a restaurant. I mean, but if you serve, like I'm a marketing agency, we serve. You're in a similar. You serve clients.
Yeah.
Unreasonable Hospitality is one of the best books.
Yeah.
It's a must read.
So good.
It's so
it
good.
Really is. Yeah. It really is. It's challenging. So all of that just took time. It just took time to figure out the process. And, while you're doing that, you're not making money or you're making less money, and there's distractions, and your work's not flowing through the company like it normally is.
Well, because you're doing, all of a sudden the new business development's not there because you've shifted into I'm building the operations.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it was interesting balancing all that, just in very my brain's going like, why isn't this working? Why aren't we just, and it's like, okay, all right. So that was one of them. The other one was, the LED wall is brand new technology. And not only is it brand new to the world, but it's brand new to us, and that's stuff that we had to figure out, we are experts, Emmy Award winning experts at making videos, but this is video related, but it could have been it could have been like underwater basket weaving for all I care, because
it's
just so
still
different.
new technology. You got to learn.
Absolutely.
No different if like a new camera came out and you're like, okay, the lenses, or they don't know how to do the the different settings are different. You know what I mean? It's no different.
Yeah, completely. So we had to just figure that out, and then the other part was then how do you communicate it to our clients? And initially, it's one of those things like, I help people with this all the time when
Yeah.
they're doing
Oh,
videos and they're
it's
doing social media
impossible
content.
to do it to yourself.
Oh my
It's
goodness. And
so
like,
hard.
it's like this, you're right there.
It's
It's
so
right in your
hard.
face. But so like we were telling people, we show them this wall. I mean, they almost, just lose their minds looking at it.
Sure.
It's a glorious thing to behold. And then they go, this is amazing. And we're like, yeah, it's amazing. Don't you want to film something here? And they're like, what can we do here? And we're like, "Well, anything. You can do anything. Just whatever you want to do." Which is the worst thing you should ever say when you're trying to market something. You have to give
Right.
them clear examples. And so what we were doing was we were marketing too much the fact that we had an LED wall, and we were marketing. We should have been marketing what they could do with the LED wall and how
Yeah.
they could, improve their lives. So it's stuff that I preach to my clients all the time, but we figured it out. But what we had to do, the aha we had to do was just figure out, okay, what are the industries that really need this, that could be impacted and changed? And we settled on the industrial industries that need to do safety videos, internal communications,
Yeah.
that sort of thing, where we can now make it look like they're actually in the factory, and you don't have the disruptions of forklifts backing up and
Right.
safety issues and all that, and they can come in
And scheduling and all
Right.
all that.
Yeah, exactly. So people have been using that, and they love it. And it's been great for them, but among other stuff. But yeah, just figuring out like each vertical. Okay, how can you use it? What's this great for? And just slowly, just kind of backing it up, and we've seen a lot of success with that. But it took us a hot minute to find that aha.
Yeah. Well, we had to pivot a couple times, even when we started Orange WIP. It was like,
Yeah.
you have all of us, we're so close to it. And it's, oh my God. But, we listen and you learn and you're like, okay, that's not resonating. Let's pivot. Let's change. Let's tweak. And then it's the point where it's like, no, this is our value proposition. We've tested it. Now we just got now to communicate it. But it is
Yeah.
so like, that was kind of some of my ahas when I started Orange WIP of I was making it for a brand strategist. I should have known better. Like we try to go keep it simple
Yeah.
and we were making it way more difficult than it should have been. I'm like, duh. Like I would have never recommended this for a client ever.
Yeah. Simple is so hard though. Simple
It's,
is complex. Simple is tough
It is
to
tough.
generate.
Yeah.
It takes intentionality. And here's something that I struggle with. I love to know what you think about this.
Yeah.
I struggle with knowing if it's a bad idea or if it's a bad execution. That's the thing because sometimes I'm like, is this a bad idea? Are we just not communicating it right? Or, are we,
Right.
and so like, it's hard to figure out what the difference is sometimes.
Yeah. And there's some, I think I've got some decision matrices to kind of help you think through of like, no, the market says it's a good concept, right? It's a good idea. There's acceptance there. And you can do some, initial kind of research, even if it's just literally anecdotal. You picking up the phone and calling just a few outsiders. But the execution becomes, a lot of people jump to tactic versus really thinking through the strategy of like, what's the goal? Which a lot of founders and entrepreneurs, and we even see mature companies have, that's why, they hire the marketing agency to just bring that disciplined thinking because all of us want to jump to the solution and go, here's this great idea. These are the 5 tactics I'm going to do. And then you're like, well, those tactics, I didn't get the success I wanted. And we asked the question, well, what was the success you were expecting? And we get crickets of, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, you said it didn't meet your expectation. Well, what was it? Oh, I never thought of it like, what? So let's talk about the goal. Now let's figure out what's the problem. Now what's the insight to get around the problem? And now let's figure out the tactics to solve that problem. I just, I'm a method person, right? So I'm always like breaking stuff down. And so that I have to do that to myself to go, before I just jump to that, what's my expectation?
Right.
And
Disciplined thinking, that's such a great way of putting it. Because I have a bias toward action.
Yeah.
And so I've had to learn and since starting the company, Jen Blair has joined as a partner.
I was like,
and owner.
you've got somebody that's their skill set.
Oh yeah. Oh, it really is. And it's the most annoying thing and helpful thing ever. Like it's just most, she's
You're like,
like,
slow
Will,
down.
yeah. And she'll ask a couple questions. I'll be like, yeah, you're right. And so
Yeah. Yeah.
it's annoying how right she is. She's right all the time.
But that's why. And she's your partner now.
Yes, she
You like
is.
you official partner.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's so
that's pretty
excited to
exciting.
have her there. Yeah, it's great to have a female in the business owned. This is an industry that's very much male owned. So I'm
Yeah.
a dad of daughters, and a lot of there's so many women I admire, including my wife, and just I'm super
Well,
excited to have her. Part
yeah,
of the leadership.
she brings a good perspective and
Yeah, she's the
and
best.
balance. You need somebody that balances you, right?
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
that is key. So okay, so talk about some other like oh shit / aha moments.
Oh, Jennifer,
So
there's so many.
risk. So
Yeah.
we're like, okay, risk. We're doing this. Okay, we don't know technology, operations, all of that. Like, what were some other? You had to get your message, which is key.
Yeah.
Those. How do you market it? Were there any others?
Yeah. So a big oh shit was figuring out like how to hire well,
Oh,
and
yeah.
culture is really important for me. I started this company not really to make money. I more it was about the freedom. It was about
The
doing what I love to
creativity.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ability just to be like endlessly creative and then it was also about working with people that I admire and respect and do great things. And when I think about winning, there's a great book called The Infinite Game, and it talks about what is winning for you. And for me, winning is paying a good wage with benefits and working with people that I admire and respect and doing
Right.
good work. And so it's important for me to have the right people in place, and then for them to feel that they're valued,
Right.
and so working through all that was just incredibly difficult.
Did you
But we
bring
had
on like coaches, or how did you work? Did you do that all by yourself?
Oh man, there's no way I could have done it by myself. Like
Like,
there was this godsend. So you may know Jason Blummer and Julie Ship, but
yeah.
they
He's
do
been
some
on the
coaching.
podcast before. I
Oh,
think
has he?
he was on in 2022. Great
Okay.
podcast, by the way. I mean,
Yes.
he is brilliant at what he does. But how did he help you? What?
So they do coaching for service-based companies, a very select number of companies. Jason and I had worked on some other things before, and I was just like, "Hey, man, we've been working some other things," and he's like, you really should think about letting us coach you on a couple of things. And I was like, okay. And so we talked about it and that sort of thing. And then there was all these problems that Jen and I were facing. She wasn't a partner yet, but she was
Yeah.
part of the leadership team, and all these problems we were just trying to figure out. And we went to like a big offsite with Jason and Julie, and they helped clear up so much of that. And they just kind of walked us through a lot of what it means to lead a service-based team and understanding, how does work flow, and understanding capacity, and understanding, the importance of, making someone's role very clear so they know like what's expected of them, and
Right.
and they know if they're not fulfilling their role, and all those kind of things. So that helped us in that part. The rest of it, we just kind of muddled through and figured out from successes and failures. A lot the ahas that we found were working genius is a massive part of how we hire. There's certain mindsets that people need to have. So with Working Genius, it basically says that there's 3 buckets of people that work in their genius, people that are working in their competency, and people that are working in their frustration.
Right.
And we all kind of live in all of those.
And all three. I mean,
Right.
as we say, everybody's got to eat their peas and carrots, right? There's not a job that you're just doing, the sunshine every day. Like every job has shit you don't want to do.
So much.
But you're right. It's like, how do you minimize, like, let's put people in the roles where at least 70-80% is in that genius
Yeah. And
portion.
even if it's difficult work, though, because there's kind of almost 2 levels to difficult work. There's difficult work that's challenging for me, but I know that as a creative, I can figure it out. And
Right.
I may not be like waking up in the morning and be like, thank you, Jesus, I got this to do. But
Right.
I'm like, okay, I'm ready to do this.
Right.
The other thing is when it's a difficult task, but then it's not within my natural skill set. And so, like, if you said, hey, Will, can you do my taxes for you? A, I wouldn't recommend it. But
That's right.
B,
I was like, ooh.
that would take me forever to do,
Right.
because I'm just like, I'm not a numbers guy, right? So the working genius is almost like two layers where it's saying like, hey, you're naturally gifted toward this. It doesn't mean you want the easy work. It's hard work, but it's
It's
within your skill set.
right.
And so like, there's certain positions like the people that are more on the administrative side, they have a high T with tenacity. And
Right.
so, some of them
The
we're looking to hire.
details, they're just in
Right.
there
100%.
like crunching it out versus what was it? The other, it's like visionary, the
Right.
inspirational, kind of the motivate this, or it might be sales, like the convincing
Yeah.
part.
So
Some people don't have that, you
I'm
know.
inventor, discerner kind of
Yeah.
person. So like, I'm big into let's
You
figure
and
that
I
idea
are the
out.
same one. I think
Yep.
that's
Yep. And I think most founders, I mean, a lot of founders are kind of in that world
and that.
of,
Yep.
on that side of it, and there's great things that we can do, but there's so much things that we can't do, and it struggles for us. So finding
Right.
those right. So what we do is we hire slow, we hire through
Mm-hmm.
Working Genius, we use Enneagram, and we use 5 voices just to kind of understand someone and
Okay.
kind of get a kind of a 360 on them.
So
Meet
I've
with
heard
them
of
a lot.
Working Genius, and I know Enneagram. We've had several of our founders that have come on here, and that's like they base the same, like Enneagrams is what they kind of rule with.
Yeah.
I've never heard of 5 voices. What is that?
Oh, 5 voices is how you communicate with each other in the workplace.
Is it like
And
the love, like work love languages? Is that sort of?
It's kind of sort of. So there's like a creative voice, and creative voices usually they start talking before they know what they're going to say, and they're
Okay.
about 2 sentences behind. And so like
Uh-huh.
it takes them a few sentences to get the words out. But if you just sit there and hang out, you'll understand what they're saying. So I'm a connector. So I'm all about like people. How can I connect people? Who do you know, Jen, that I need to know? And then how can I connect you to somebody that I know? And then
Right.
that makes me so happy. Let's get everybody together. Great. All right, now I'm leaving. So, and then there's people that are pioneers and guardians that are more forward thinking. They may sound like they come across sometimes as negative, but they're really not. They're just people that are trying very hard to serve your best interests. And so if someone like me, high energy, lots of ideas, comes in and is like, hey, we should do these 5 things, they're going to see all the problems with it, but not
Yeah.
to be a pain. They're actually here to help, and they're here
Right.
to say like, hey, this is the things that I see. So I think I'm missing one. The nurturers, they're more just like about the vibes, and so
Yeah.
they're really very soft. They have like what's called soft voice, and
Yeah.
so what I've learned to do is when we're have the leadership team together, or some we're making some decision, I know everybody's voice, so I can kind of not talk to the guardians and the pioneers first because they're super loud and they'll tell you what they think anyway.
Right.
I'll talk to the creatives, the nurturers, and say like, hey, what do you think? What's the
Right.
what's the vibe that you're getting?
Does
What's
it meet our
that feel?
culture?
Right.
That because
Yes.
they're going to pick up on it.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. That's
So,
fascinating.
yeah, it's super
Oh, that's
helpful.
good.
Yeah.
And Jason Bloomer, what he's talked about, and we've mentioned it with several founders on the podcast, is he's huge into the strategically time blocking
Yes.
of the count, and that also helps not just you as an individual time manage, but also as a manager of people to go, are you allocating your time in the way that's going to make you successful within your role? And I just I find that it is so helpful. And any founder that's starting to like hire people or just like manage people, that tool is so great. I can't recommend it.
Oh yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also
that was
for
life-changing.
you as a founder too. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like it is literally will change the way you structure and talk to your team and just manage yourself. It actually
it's so
opened
true.
up more freedom for me when I did that.
I found that so we've work blocked my entire calendar all the way to the end of the year.
Yeah.
Both Jen and I have that. And it's not necessarily all the details, but it's the rough blocks of, hey, this is when sales meetings are. This is
Right.
when your tours of the studio are. This is when we're having dedicated,
Right.
times with the meeting
That's
with the team or whatever. And then it gets filled in, and it allows our team we have open calendars, so it allows our team to just schedule what they need to schedule with me.
Yeah.
Whenever it fits that block, and if there's for some reason there's an emergency or something, they can do what they need
Yeah,
to do.
they
But
can go, hey, can you
yeah.
move something around? But at least
Right.
it gives them, there's this ease of,
Yeah.
it's like with my team. Okay, Tuesdays and Thursdays, she's got these kind of windows blocked for these purposes.
Yeah.
So it becomes real easy just to go, my EA can just go, this is where I need to slot this time,
Yeah.
these tasks in.
And it's freeing. It's not
It's
limiting, because I was afraid
no,
that it was going to, like, ruin my vibe or something. But
right.
it's
You're
it's
like,
great.
I need the freedom.
Right.
Don't constrict me.
Do you sense a
Um,
theme here?
that's right. Right. So, okay. So if you had to hit rewind, on anything, things that you now know today that you wish you would have known 5 years ago, what would you do? What would you have hit and done
Oh,
differently?
yeah. So about 5 years ago, I went through a physical and emotional crisis where I was very much, in a dark place. And, just, I think the stress of just the work, years of building a company, and then
Mm.
now, 90 Central, and there's a lot of things were just like coming on to me. And I had many days where I was just in bed. It was usually most weekends just stuck in bed, just sick. And just, now looking back, I'd be like, wow, you were depressed, and you
I know.
needed, you
I've
needed
been
a
there.
friend, you
There
know?
are several Saturdays. I'm like, is it 3 o'clock? And I'm like, I'm just
Yeah.
getting like
Yeah.
time. Just, yeah, I've hit some bottoms. I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think
I think we all
it's a
go through
common
it.
thing.
Yeah.
The thing that's helped me is I think at my lowest point, I told my wife, I've built this company. I've built myself from the ground up. I don't need anybody, and I don't even need you. I just like, and
Yeah.
she just gave me, she said, "Oh, Will," and she just gave me this big hug and just held me tight, and just,
Yeah.
and
Need
she
those
knew that
people.
wasn't, yeah, she knew I didn't mean it. It was
Right.
coming from a lot of hurt.
Yeah.
And I've learned that people and a community is such an
Whew.
important part of success.
That's been my aha.
Yeah.
2018 was like to be a part of a founder community, like saved me.
Yeah.
And back again in 2021, 2022, I think were our worst years ever. 2020 was like, we were all, I think the whole nation was under this. We're just going to stick to it. It was the year or two after
Yeah.
that sucked hard. That really,
Yep.
like, and that's where I hit my lowest. And and to have people, because I started building that, where I was like, hey, I could just text somebody and go, I'm losing it. Like,
Yeah.
and I would literally have people within 5 minutes at my door.
Wow.
And yeah. And just to sit and let me cry, let me, like, and learning and I've done it for other people. Like literally we have like a whole text, chain of, if somebody, because I've seen the power of it. If somebody, I'm there. I will
Yeah.
I will run across town and do whatever I know, or drive down to Charleston or drive up to Charlotte,
Yeah.
because we need it.
Absolutely.
And even just to go, okay, are you asking me am I just here for you to vent and I'm a shoulder
Right.
and I can do it?
Yep.
Or do you need advice and solutions? Because my love language, like I'm here to serve. Like,
Right.
so immediately I'm like, my brain starts working up like, how do I solve the problem?
Yep.
And some of them, it's like, I don't need you to solve it. I just need to be here. Just hold my hand, and you're right. I don't think we talk about those things enough to go, it's going to happen.
Oh, it's
And,
guaranteed.
and you're going to, and there are people that will be there if you let them in.
Oh, so true. Absolutely true. And you have to let them in. And
And you have
that's
to
the
let
core
them in.
thing.
That's right.
It's the thing that, and this is, I'm so passionate about this. I'm glad we're talking about it. The thing that makes founders so good at what they do is because they're independent.
Right.
Like they're tough SOBs. They're out there, just they don't take no for an answer.
But
They're
they got to
defying
put
the
this
odds.
like, you got to put this like mat, like this wall up of this
Right.
is my image. And
Yeah.
behind it though, sometimes it's like a delicate shell.
Right. Yeah. It's like if any wind blows, we're all gone. It's all
Yeah.
toast.
But we don't want
Yeah.
to, but we can't present it that way. It's like,
Yeah.
where's my safe space
Yes.
that I
Yeah.
can just crumble? But I need to make sure it's
Yeah.
safe
Yeah.
because you don't want
And
to damage that outward,
Right.
appearance.
Yeah, exactly. And people don't want to work with losers or whatever
Yeah.
the thing you tell yourself. But I think it's that attitude, though. At least it was for me, and I don't know if it was for you, but like that independent spirit that I had also was my detriment because
Yeah.
it wasn't allowing me to reach out for help
Right.
and
Oh, I
find
didn't
that
for a long,
network.
like it wasn't until, like I said, it was, you start building the community and, like to me, it was years after, 6 years after I started the company, but I didn't start really tapping into it until I was like bottom. I'll tell you where that was my aha moment. It was somebody that just happened to see me and I was walking down the street,
Mm,
downtown, Greenville, and I literally was about to lose it. Like it just, the immense pressure of just everything.
yeah.
And another founder, just, who's never here, like never walking on, like never in town. I'm getting in my car and she just happens to see me and she was like, "Hey, do you want to go? We're meeting some people." And she kind of looked she was like, "What's wrong?" And she just grabbed me and hugged me. And I just lost it. And she's like, let's just go talk, and it was but you got to let people in.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, we started to formulate kind of like, we're, especially, women founders, we have our
Yeah.
own kind of anxieties and
Yeah.
issues of
You're fighting so much.
fighting so much other, ancillary stuff.
Yeah.
But it's still important. It's real. But yeah, we started forming this like circle of, this little trust circle of we gotta support each other because it can get ugly.
Yes.
But yeah, but like-minded, like mission people, most of the founders that we talk to, I mean, I think we've interviewed couple thousand founders. We're all speaking the same language. We all have those
Yes.
mental health anxieties, the imposter syndrome, but just these moments. Most of us are in depression or have faced depression, or divorced or struggling with, relationships. And it is, yes, with founder and entrepreneur, there's a lot of positives of we're independent, we get to build things, we're creating things. But then there's those low points and we need to lean on each other.
Yeah.
When
It's so true.
because
And-
we'll overcome it. We will.
Yeah.
We've got the tenacious spirit to
Yeah.
overcome those things.
And it's so important to be disciplined, as you're a founder, not just in building a company, but also building yourself.
Yeah.
And that's probably the other aha that I had, which is, you have to invest in your community. You have to invest in your mental and emotional health along the way. It's not a sprint; it's a marathon. And so this year my number is 17 that I've been focusing on. And if you do something for 17 minutes every day, that equals 100 hours by the end of the year. So and as someone who's very much like here, there, and everywhere, 17 minutes doesn't sound like a long time. But if I do it for an hour, I'm like, oh, shoot me in the head.
Right.
But so it's like, okay, I'm going to work out for 17 minutes. Well, once I get to the 17th minute, I'm like, oh, this is actually kind of fun.
Do this more.
Keep doing it.
I'm on a 7-minute exercise and I'm barely making it, but I'm committed.
That's good. You got to do what you got to do.
I got to do what I do. I was like, good Lord, can I not just get through a Dave Matthews song, which is like 20 minutes, but
That's good. I love that. Yeah, but having figuring out what those 17-minute things are, has really helped me. It's helped me be more intentional, partner to my wife, to be a better dad.
That's
be
great.
more, focus on, meditating and just prayer, mindfulness, all of that stuff, and just trying to stay focused because it's tough. It's tough being a founder.
It is. So I was inspired by another founder. What was it, a couple of years ago? I started this, I think in 2022, 2023. I can't remember if I did. Last year was my second year, but I call it the 6-4-1 rule. So it's the, so the one is what's going to make the year? Like, it's like the defining moment of the year. So 2022, I started Orange WIP and Hello Chaos. That was like, last year I wrote a book. So that was, that was like my defining moment.
Yeah.
The 6 is, every other month plan some kind of like activity or something that you've never done, with the kids, whether you go like, hey, I haven't seen my family. Let's go take a trip and go visit, family in California. Or,
Yeah.
hey, Thanksgiving, let's go, we all went to Arizona and did
Mm.
like but try to make every other month, make some, you know, thing that you've never done with kids or with friends so that you're having like mini adventures
Yeah.
every other month.
Yeah.
And then each quarter, try to come up with, start incorporating a new discipline or
Mm.
some routine so that at the end of the year, you're like, okay, I had a defining moment as the year. I did 6 mini adventures and I incorporated now 4 new disciplines or routines that make my life easier and better.
I love that.
So so I started doing that. That's my 641.
Oh, that's so good. Oh, I love that. I love numbers. I love how
I do
that
like,
that plays. That's awesome. I wrote that down. I'm gonna
yeah,
think about that for myself.
there you go. There
That's
you
cool.
go. I try to help. That's right. I need numbers too. I got to have something to remember stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay. So we've talked about so much good stuff. I love it. So if you had to sum up, and you might have already said this, but in case you get another word, but if you had to sum up your journey in just one word, what would be that word and why?
I would say it's love. I mean, that's
Oh,
been a big part of my life. I've shut a lot of people out, and then kind of just changed and grew from, and realized that there's just a lot of love that people need. There's like you got to see people for like past their warts, and you
right.
have to
Meet
love
people where
yourself.
they are.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to love yourself. You have to love your work,
Yeah.
and work that's loved while it's created is so much better than work that's just
Oh,
made for just monetary reasons or whatever, or mercenary reasons. And like the 3 things that we say for our company is love your clients, or love your team, love your clients, and love your community. And I think that loving people sometimes is painful, and people are very messy.
yeah.
But if you come at anything, even if you have to say hard things from a point of
Right.
love, you never say it wrong, and
No.
and you can keep short accounts with people, even if they're mad at you. It's like, hey, it might not work. Not everybody's going to like you, but that's just kind of the way that I've trying to live my life now. Just like, how can I just love people and take care of them, and the rest will take care of itself.
That's right. Oh, I love that philosophy and that approach. And my dad used to always tell me, you're going to enter once you get into like the people-y stage of, you're going to go into the workforce. You're going to be all around people.
Mm.
But he was like, every person on this earth has a gift that they
Yeah.
bring to the world. They have some purpose. They have a gift. Some you'll see it right away. Like you will see that gift and you will resonate with it. It's what will like be a magnet to you because you guys will connect in some way. Or others, it might be really hard to find their gift.
Yeah,
And we all know some of those people we've had in our
we
life
do.
of like, God, why, like, why do you have to be this way? But that's that. So I love what you're saying because that's what reminds me of
Mm.
him, of whispering in my ear whenever I really face somebody that's difficult, or if I need to
Yeah.
have a difficult conversation, it is they have a gift. And maybe I've got to dig harder to appreciate it, but they need to also be aware of what I value and what I see in them and
Yeah.
why we're connected in some form or fashion.
Love that.
But
That's so
yeah,
good.
um,
That's so good.
I always love our conversations, and I know
Me
we're out of
too.
time. We could
Oh,
keep going. We need to do episode 2.
that's right. We'll do an extended
We'll
cut.
do an extended cut. Um, we'll bring you back on, and
Good.
we'll
Anytime.
do another one on because we could sit here and talk about all the different disciplines, our lessons
Oh
learned.
my goodness.
We could do like a top 10 between the two of us of
Yes. So many
um,
things.
so
Yeah.
many things.
I
Oh,
admire you so much, and I'm always grateful to chat with you. I love your boundless creativity and energy, and it's always just encouraging to talk to you. So I
well,
appreciate the opportunity to just chat. This is always
absolutely.
fun.
I know. We need to do more of it, Will.
Yeah, absolutely. Get in my calendar block.
I know. I need to get on your calendar. Maybe we'll take Hello Chaos back on the road over to your studio, and we'll do
Let's
an
do it.
on-site
Sounds good.
one.
Let's do it in front of the
Um,
wall.
yeah. Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah.
So people can see it.
Yep. Exactly.
But I really enjoyed. Always, always, always enjoy. So before we go, how do you want people to connect with you, contact you, engage with you, or 98 Central Proc?
Yeah.
What's your stuff?
Yeah, so 98c.org is the best way to connect with us. So it's number 9, number 8, letter C is in central.org, or pronk.tv, and pronk is PRONK, and that's the name of the studio, pronk.tv.
And you've got to tell people, okay, what Pronk?
Okay, yes. So
The
I like
background
weird
of-
names.
I know. Like but
I
also
didn't
with
even-
a lot of people that are not TV people, like you and I come from TV,
Right, yeah.
so you got to explain 98C too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
9/8 Central. That's prime time. That's when the good stuff came on.
That's
That's
right.
when Star Trek: Next Generation was on when I was a kid.
It was like
you know.
Friends. I mean, you had
Oh, yeah.
all the
All the good stuff. All
All
the
the good stuff.
like Jeopardy was done. Wheel of Fortune was done.
Yeah.
And you could actually watch the really good shows. So that's back
prime
back
time.
early days. Yeah, that's our slogan was we get you ready for prime time, which thankfully
Oh.
we have discarded that a long time ago. But 9/8 Central. I never thought that would be dated, but apparently in this day of video streaming on demand,
of-
it
yeah,
feels
I'm
like that's
streaming.
gone.
I think
gone
I
the
just
way.
posted on. Oh, I didn't do it on my LinkedIn. I just posted on Tumblr a whole thing of like my future prediction of connected TV. I need to post that somewhere
Oh
more
yeah,
public.
I'd love to see it. I love to see what it is. But pronk, when a gazelle jumps in the air with its legs straight, that's called pronking, and they do that in front of predators. And zoologists have said this for years. Like, why do they just jump with their legs straight in front of predators? But they do it because they're communicating to the predator. I have so much energy and I have so much speed that I can waste it all in front of you. And if you decide to pursue me, I can outrun you. So we help our clients pronk.
I love it. All right. So people see 98c.org or pronk, PRONK.TV.
Yeah,
It's
or
where
find
they
me on
need to find
LinkedIn.
you. Or find Will
posting.
Stewart
Yeah.
on LinkedIn. All right. For everyone listening or watching us live, thank you for joining us. Again, this podcast episode will be published this coming Sunday and available on all podcast platforms. Please subscribe to Hello Chaos, like, comment, and share so we build a more connected entrepreneurial community. Hello Chaos is one of the many resources brought to you by Orange WIP. That's Orange WIP, WIP for Work in Progress. Orange WIP is a multimedia company dedicated to serving founders and entrepreneurs in affiliate cities. We are in 3 areas of South Carolina, the upstate, Midlands, and Low Country, with goals to expand to be in 30 markets in 5 years. We are a one-stop content hub just for founders, so 100% free. Just join the community. Just an email. Check out the latest edition we just dropped this week. It is on honoring and featuring women-owned businesses and minority-owned businesses in the upstate, the Midlands, and Low Country area. Stunning photography, some of the best stories. So go check it out. Find your city and enjoy. If you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, just send us an email to hello@orangewhip.com. Y'all, thank you for tuning in to Hello Chaos. It's where AHA meets oh shit. I am your host, Jennifer Sutton, JJ, and we will see you again next week.